I've had a lot of conversations with friends who are slackers, but it turns out they don't actually hate themselves. They have this inner demon that lives inside of them that wakes up in the morning and is like, "Hey, get off your ass and do stuff." And this one says, "Yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's order pizza and watch Netflix." And they do that. So they don't actually hate themselves. And my mind is racing with all these ideas of things I could accomplish. And the next morning I wake up and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I had those ideas last night. Man, I gotta do those things." And then by lunchtime, I completely forgot about them. And so he feels bad about himself because he doesn't follow through. So essentially what is happening is that the part of our brain that makes plans is shutting down, and the parts of our brain that are responsible for processing emotions and giving us rewards is turned up. And that's why when you go to bed, you have these great ideas. A lot of times when we can't do what we want to do, we say that we re-lazy, or we re-procrastinating, or we re-undisciplined, or we have low motivation. And we start to believe these things about ourselves, and we beat ourselves up. Now, I'm not saying that motivation is bad. We all need some motivation from time to time. But you can't rely on motivation to get things done. Like we talked about earlier, understanding the psychology of why you do certain things is going to help you fix the problem. He says, the only way to do great work is to have great systems. Motivation is what causes you to take action. Action always precedes motivation. You don't feel motivated to do something and then do it. Motivation ebbs and flows. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings change, and that's wrong. Replacing guilt with self-awareness is going to help you fix this problem. I talk about this in my video about why goals don't work. So go check that one out after this one. And intentions for the next day, and then by the time you wake up, you forgot about them. Don't overwhelm yourself with a big to-do list. Just focus on 1 to 2 things. Step no. 2. Prepare the environment the night before. Momentum begets momentum. So if you want to go on a walk in the morning, lay out your clothes and put your shoes by the door. Make it really easy on yourself. You want to remove as much friction as possible so that when it comes time to do the thing that you said you were gonna do, you don't have any excuses. You don't need less motivation. You need better direction. You don't need to be more disciplined. You need to learn how to work with your psychology, not against it. So learn about the way that your brain works. Learn about the way that your body works. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Step no. 3. Start tiny. Action kills hesitation. Parkinson's law says that work always expands to fill the time that we allocate to it. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to fight yourself anymore. Morning you and night, you should be the same person. You shouldn't have 2 different versions of you. You should be consistent. You should be reliable. And the only way to do that is to understand yourself and understand the way that you work. But it doesn't stop there. Another hormone in our body is cortisol. You'll probably get it done in that time frame, and then you'll probably end up spending the rest of the day doing other things. They're just battling this internal war between 2 versions of them. So what he's saying is that motivation is a result of your actions, not the other way around. Every single one of us has done something that we said we were gonna do. Show up even when it's hard. Show up even when you don't feel like it. We've all been consistent in some aspect of our lives at some point. The problem is that most of us are inconsistent in the things that we want to be consistent in. If you want to do great work, you need to replace motivation with process. Show up even if you don't feel like it. Show up even if things aren't perfect. Show up even if you failed yesterday. Show up because the only way to build trust with yourself is to show up consistently. Show up so that the future you can trust that the current you will actually do what they say they're going to do. Process is much more reliable than motivation. And also replace motivation with structure. Structure is another thing that's more reliable than motivation. So what we do is we try to trick ourselves into feeling motivated by watching videos and reading books and listening to podcasts about motivation. And so the next time you're about to skip yoga, you won't allow yourself to do that because you don't want to break your identity. If you want to bake a cake, you don't first feel motivated to bake a cake and then get the ingredients and then start baking. You get the ingredients and then start baking, and then you feel motivated to finish the whole process. But cortisol actually shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for making plans. So essentially what happens is we have this demon in the evening that says, yeah, let's go out and party and stay up late. And then the next morning we have no idea why we did that because we don't have the energy or the ability to make plans. Our prefrontal cortex is shut down and it is being overpowered by these other parts of our brain and hormones in our body. And then they listen to their demon. But at night, there's another version of them that comes out. Because I don't want to set myself up for failure during the week. Well, now you know why. You don't have the ability to make plans. So it's not necessarily a good idea to plan your entire week ahead of time on Sunday night. And finally, there's another part called the amygdala. That's basically what processes emotions like fear. Now, when we make these new plans, these three parts of our brain light up: the prefrontal cortex, the nucleus accumbens, and the amygdala. In the book Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about how a system is a collection of rules that, when obeyed, brings about a desired outcome over time. Essentially, if you have a good system, you don't really need motivation. It's like a different person. But which one of these people do you want to be? It's not because you lack willpower or motivation. There's actually a real science behind it. Our brains have this part called the prefrontal cortex that's basically responsible for making plans. It also helps us regulate emotions. Another part of our brain that's active when we make these new plans is the nucleus accumbens. Well, if you want to live a life that you can be proud of, it's gonna take discipline. And motivation is a lie. Let me explain. This is why motivation is a lie and discipline is the cure. No one. Night versus morning. You. This one friend that I was talking about, he told me, you know, sometimes I will go to sleep. But here's the thing. There's an actual real reason why you are like this. That's kind of like the reward center of our brain. It's what motivates us to do stuff. When we first fall asleep, the blood flow to the prefrontal cortex goes down, and the blood flow to the other two areas, the nucleus accumbens and the amygdala, increases. Cortisol is a stress hormone that gets released in the morning to help us wake up and be alert throughout the day. So this is why sometimes we say things like, "Oh, I don't make plans on Sunday." No, you're not broken. You're misaligned. The truth is, you're not broken. You're misaligned. You just lack systems. But if you don't have any systems in place, then you will need motivation. So instead of relying on motivation, you need to build systems. Instead of calling yourself names and beating yourself up, try to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. No. 3. Why motivation is a lie. In the book The Almanac, Naval Ravikant talks about how motivation is a myth. You do the thing and then you feel motivated to do it again. As humans, we don't like to feel unmotivated. But motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. And finally, replace motivation with identity. You can choose to identify yourself as someone who does yoga every morning. Number 4. The 3-step system that actually works. But essentially, the system is step no. 1. Write down just 1 to 2 simple tasks that you want to get done tomorrow. So, if you give yourself a really small amount of time to do the thing that you said you were gonna do, but if you just get started, if you just get a little bit of momentum going, you'll find it easier to keep going. No. 5. You don't need more hype. You need to build trust with yourself. So instead of trying to get hyped up to be consistent, just show up. So instead of trying to motivate yourself and get hyped up and trying to read all these books about motivation, just show up. And finally, number 6, it's not about fixing yourself. It's about understanding yourself. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be understood. Learn about your habits and your behaviors. So if you want to become more consistent, if you want to become more disciplined, if you want to become more motivated, understanding the way that you work is going to be extremely helpful in that. If you found this video valuable, please share it with a friend. It really helps out the channel.